Fanta Red. Not to be confused with Fanta Strawberry. This is Fanta Red.
Oh, the Gap Band.
The Gap Band, yeah.
The Gap Band, yeah.
This is Fanta Red, not to be confused with Fanta Strawberry. Fanta Strawberry is different.
Oh, yeah?
It's completely different. Everybody's always
different?
like, yeah.
I mean,
Fanta Strawberry tastes like strawberry.
And I always say red, it don't matter what flavor it is.
This is like an imitation Big Red that Fanta made. For some reason, you can only find it in fountain drinks. That's it.
Yeah?
It's the only way they make it. But it tastes like mop water a little bit. And it's delicious. It's delicious.
That's why I stick to Sprite.
For some reason, Sprite is just a different breed.
Yeah, it has no caffeine.
Bro, Sprite is the only soda that'll make me burp immediately after drinking.
I guess that's what helps me out too. Because I mean, when you get bloated, man, you want to release that gas. Yeah.
Well, I be in there. Excuse me.
That's why I be drinking. That's why I take Alka-Seltzer, dog. And they got Alka-Seltzer for everything, for headaches.
I've seen
Alka-Seltzer for cold and flu.
You got a sore muscle? Alka-Seltzer. Depressed a little bit? Take an Alka-Seltzer. You constipated? Throw an Alka-Seltzer back.
Take it raw.
Just raw dog it. Throw the Alka-Seltzer in and swallow it. Let your stomach carbonate. Have foam coming out of both ends, dog.
Like, God damn.
I don't feel so good.
¡Ay, Miguel! ¡Miguel!
What's going on? What's going on? Late night family. We back in the building. Coming to bring you another exciting episode of Late Night Conversations with Unc and Nephew. I am your host, King J, also known as Nephew. And to my left is my co-host,
JR, Big Unc.
What's up, Big Unc?
Shit, I'm excited today.
Hey, me too, man.
After
We took a break.
Off, yeah.
For some of y'all that don't know, if y'all just joining us, we took a week off from last week's episode.
Right.
We're pretty consistent on dropping, right?
Yeah, every Friday morning, but we just
decided to take a week of just a break, man.
Break, yeah.
We've been hitting it so hard that I felt like I called Unc. I said, man, look, man, shoot, we've been hitting it hard for what? Like 26, 27 episodes. Yeah. So I'm like, how about we take a break this week?
A lot of times people don't understand what it takes to edit.
Yeah, exactly.
Shooting a podcast is nothing. We're just having a conversation.
Exactly.
But going back little by little, making sure that
doing them
some of our words, that we ain't supposed to say get cut out, or some actions that we do,
Yeah, sometimes we think like some conversation kind of gets like we kind of talk for too long. We'll cut it out or whatever.
Right.
That's why a lot of our cuts come from. If it's not pertaining to the topic we're talking, we'll just cut it out. But yeah, it was good, Unc. And today, man, I got a good story. So we're heading back to true crime.
True crime, people.
So before we get started on today's episode, I just want to say thank y'all to everybody who's been watching.
Most definitely.
The feedback we've been getting is great. Thank y'all so much, man. We really enjoy doing this. And if y'all haven't seen our podcast before, just strap in and be ready, man, because we do all kinds of crazy stuff.
So much.
I mean, we do conspiracy theories, true crime stories, creepypasta stories, which are short horror stories. So if they are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Check us out. See if y'all like it. If y'all like the content, man, we really appreciate you stopping by. Just wherever you're watching your podcast at, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast from, hit that follow button, man. We really would appreciate it. And if you're on YouTube especially, hit that subscribe button and punch that bell in the face so you get notified every time we drop a video. Every time we drop a video, and that is every Friday at 8 a.m. I said, I don't know what I said.
So I know you said it's good, and I don't know anything about it, so
yes,
I'm ready.
It's a good true crime story, and it's from a while back, man. It's a while back, but it's still unsolved to this day. This is how mysterious the story is.
And that's what I like about your stories, Nephew, is that some of them are, I don't want to say ancient, but they're 30, 40, 50 years old.
Yes.
Unsolved mysteries, which most of those probably will never be solved because most of the people are already passed away.
Or evidence is already lost or in time.
Like I heard a story this morning where they had evidence for 30 years ago, but it was in plastic bags. and they sweat it, so they can't get DNA. You know.
See, that's what I'm saying.
You know,
so it's like a lot of these are unsolved, but they're just so notorious because of not only because of the time, but also the people that are involved. These are some of the most, like this woman. I don't know.
Prolific people from the time.
Yes, exactly. Because this woman was very huge back then.
Okay.
Who I'm talking about today. So y'all strap in for y'all seats because today we're talking about the infamous mystery surrounding the death of Thelma Todd.
Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, 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 rabbit.
Thelma Todd. To be honest, I've never heard of her. So to me, it's either the black and white movies or the silent movies.
It's black and white.
Black and white, okay.
So let's go ahead and jump into today's story. So, welcome to tonight's episode,
All right.
where the truth is stranger than fiction and the past still whispers through the streets of Hollywood. Tonight we go back, way back, to the golden age of Hollywood to tell you a story with all the glamour, scandal, and mystery you'd expect from Tinseltown. But this isn't a movie, this is the real-life mystery of Thelma Todd. A rising starlet, a beloved comedian, and a woman whose life ended far too soon under very suspicious circumstances.
Okay.
They called her the Ice Cream Blonde, Thelma Todd.
Okay.
She was smart, very funny, and a beautiful actress who lit up the screen in over 120 films in the 1920s and the 30s.
Okay.
But in the December of 1935, Thelma Todd was found dead, slumped behind the wheel of her car in a garage on a cold hillside overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The cause of death? Strange surrounding the cause of death.
Oh, they have a cause of death?
Carbon monoxide poisoning is what they ruled.
That's what I was thinking, if it was in a garage, but it said it was overlooking the ocean. So,
but the real cause is debated still to this day.
Okay.
Let's rewind a little bit.
Okay.
So Thelma was born in Lawrence, Massachusetts in 1906. She was very sharp. She wanted to be a teacher. So she was enrolled in these programs to help her become a teacher, but she got scouted for a beauty pageant because on the side she was doing modeling, and she ended up in Hollywood instead.
Okay.
So the thing about her, Unc, was she was good, and she was a natural. She worked with the Marx Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Laurel and Hardy.
Right.
She held her own with some of the biggest names in comedy, and she wasn't just a pretty face. But behind the bright lights and big laughs, there was some darkness creeping in.
Okay.
By 1934, she opened a swanky cafe on Pacific Coast Highway, Thelma Todd's Sidewalk Cafe. It was a big spot. Celebs, tourists, and even modern gangsters of the time were all hanging out under the same roof.
Okay.
It was a big party scene there, man. Now, here's where it gets messy, huh? So during the time where she was really famous doing all these movies,
right,
and she opened up this cafe, she had a partner to help her open this cafe. His name was Roland West.
Okay.
He was
like a silent partner or
yes, like a business partner. Yeah. So Roland West was a film director.
Okay.
He was a big film director back in the 20s and 30s. So they actually, some would say, were romantically involved. So,
but not guaranteed.
But not guaranteed because, see, Roland West was married to a woman.
Right.
But they say that the woman was fine with the affair because sometimes Thelma Todd was also messing with the wife. So it was like a whole love triangle thing going on.
Okay.
Yes. So either way, however it was going, man, some were saying they were involved romantically. Some were saying they were just business partners. Either way, he was super controlling over Thelma.
Oh.
That was the one thing about this whole situation was he was very controlling. He reported it was reported that there was times that he would even lock her in her apartment at night to keep her from going partying.
And I think the 20s and 30s and 40s is
men were very aggressive towards women.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, see, the thing is Thelma and Roland had apartments on the very second floor of the cafe.
Okay.
Yeah, right above that so they would stay in sometimes.
Yeah, so they were there 24/7.
Yeah, exactly, to run the place. And they were also there partying and, you know, they were just enjoying their time there. But at the same time, Thelma and, like they said, Thelma and Roland had apartments on the second level. But at the same time, Roland and his wife also owned a house about 500 yards away from the cafe.
All right there.
Yeah, so they were all,
so
everything was in relation.
In a little triangle, like
basically,
you said.
Yeah. So, also in the mix was her ex-husband, Pat DeSico.
Thelma's ex-husband.
So, see, Thelma was married to a man named Pat DeSico. He was a known associate of the mobster Lucky Luciano.
Luciano, yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, Lucky Luciano. And yeah, it's that Luciano.
Right.
Not exactly the kind of guy you want in your love triangle.
Yeah.
But see, she divorced him, and she cited the reasons were grievous mental and physical suffering.
And that's crazy because divorce wasn't
Common back
common
then, right?
in the 20s and 30s,
Yeah.
you know, and women just put up with a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming just not men.
No,
I mean,
but that was just
men was
a staple of the
men
time.
back then.
Yeah.
A man's man.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Back
know?
during the times, that's
Yeah.
just how things went.
Right.
Regardless of how, if it was wrong or right, that's
Right.
just
I
how
don't think
things
women
were.
could vote at that time.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah.
Shit,
If
you
I'm not
might be
mistaken, I
right.
don't think women could even vote. To be honest, I don't remember.
They didn't have a lot of rights back then. It
Right,
was just kind of
right.
you did what the man said, and that's just all there was
Right.
to it. And so, see, yeah, so she cited her reasons, which that was the thing about her. You know, she said it was grievous mental and physical suffering. So obviously, this man was
Yeah.
very rude,
Right.
very mean, and physically
Domestic violence.
Domestic violence. But that's the thing about Thelma, man, was that she was very outspoken as an actress, man. To the point of while she was big in Hollywood, she would avoid she was always avoiding casting couch situations.
Right.
Because I don't
Yeah,
know if
you-
y'all know this back in the day. If y'all know what casting couch means.
You nasty ass bastard!
Back then in the old days.
Well, I don't know what it
that's
meant
how,
back in the day, but I know what it means now. But
apparently back in the day, that's what it
was,
meant.
Yeah, but it was just an appearance. Yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
But what they were referring to is that a lot of women would only get roles back then if they were sleeping with the directors or things
couch,
like that. Yeah, casting couch. You pull up on that couch,
Yeah.
get done, and then you can get shot in a movie.
Come on, man.
You know, it's terrible, dog. But
It's true, though.
that's
I
just
know
how
what
it
you mean,
was,
yeah.
you know. And she was very outspoken about it, because that's the kind of woman she was. She wasn't
She's
a
letting everybody know,
yeah,
hey, if you want this part, that's what you got to do.
Or no, she was just speaking out against it. Like
Oh,
she
against
didn't.
it?
Yeah, she was letting the
Yeah,
world
I'm not
know.
gonna do that for
This
you.
is what we're having to do as actors, and this ain't right. She
Right.
was a very outspoken
Okay,
woman,
so
man.
she's one of them women's liberal rights.
I don't know
or
about
whatever.
liberal rights, but I just know she was just an outspoken woman.
Right.
Dog.
She
She was very.
She spoke her mind.
Yeah, she wasn't afraid to
Okay.
speak her mind.
Right.
So check this out, huh? So on the night of December 14th, 1935, Thelma goes to a party, you know, at her cafe. She's seen laughing, drinking, having a good time. And while she was there, she actually bet some of her friends a free dinner that they wouldn't come back the next day.
Okay.
So Roland, being his usual controlling self, told Thelma that she needed to be home around 2 a.m. That's what time she needed to be home. So around 1:30, she had another man call Roland and tell him, hey, I'm fixing to head home. But she didn't end up leaving until 3 a.m.
Oh, okay.
Around 3 a.m. So that's the last time
Red
she was
flag,
seen alive.
First red flag from Roland right there.
Yeah.
So
That was the last time she was seen alive. Her friends actually showed up the next day to claim their free lunch,
But she wasn't
Thelma
there.
was a no-show all day.
right.
But they still enjoyed their free meal.
Right.
2 days later, her maid starts doing her normal duties for Thelma. She cleans up, then she goes and gets her car, Thelma's car, out of the garage. This is her normal duty. She cleans up, she gets the car, and then she drives it to the cafe and picks Thelma up in it,
Okay.
in her car. Well, the day that she starts getting ready, she goes to the garage, and she finds Thelma slumped over the steering wheel with a broken nose and 2 cracked ribs.
Oh.
And she's still wearing her same evening gown that she was wearing from the party, with a fur
the
coat on
Trocadero,
top. Yeah, with a fur coat on top. I mean, she's still dressed like if she just got home from the party.
Right.
She's slumped over. Like I said, she has a broken nose and 2 cracked ribs. So after it's all said and done, cops are called. You know, of course, investigation kicks off. The cops rule it as an accident.
Oh, they
This is their first initial.
accidental.
It was an accidental poisoning, carbon monoxide poisoning. They're thinking maybe she was a little drunk from the party. Maybe she locked herself out
And
she
asleep.
fell asleep in her car
With
in
the
the
car on.
garage. That's what they're thinking. So maybe she was tired, cold, tried to sleep in the car. She turned the engine on to run it for some heat, and she passed away like that. But here comes the questions, huh? Why was her face all bruised
Right.
and her nose broken? Why was her shoes clean if she supposedly walked up? In order to get to Roland West's house, it was 500 yards up a hill.
Right.
Her shoes were clean.
So I mean,
At 3 a.m.
they could say that she fell, broke her nose and her ribs. I mean, that
could
a
be
theory,
plausible.
But shoes are clean.
And her outfit is clean, other than the blood that was stained on her fur coat
from her nose. Okay.
But her shoes were inconsistent with walking up a steep hill at night.
Right.
Why did the neighbors say they heard her arguing with somebody outside of the cafe that night? Maybe the biggest question, why was the garage door shut so tight? Maybe if it was a suicide or an accident. Those were the two things floating around. The coroner ruled accidental death, but the grand jury didn't buy it right away.
Okay.
So they held on inquest, asked 160 witnesses, but after 2 weeks, no one was charged. No smoking gun, just a lot of whispers. So Roland West, he always acted a little nervous. Now, decades later, man, a reporter claimed that West confessed on his deathbed that he accidentally locked Thelma in the garage after an argument, not knowing that she'd start the car. That was on his deathbed.
Yeah, but I mean, is that all he said? Because
that's all he said.
What about the ribs? What about the nose?
Exactly. That doesn't explain. And here's the other thing, Hunk. His story of what happened that night is full of inconsistencies, and which it
but
just
if
don't
you're
play
saying
out
decades,
right.
you're looking at 20, 30 years.
Right. Maybe he got a little fuzzy, but it just don't make sense though. Some of his stories, they're just inconsistent. There's a lot of theories, so let's jump into a couple of them.
Okay.
Huh? So there's one theory that Lucky Luciano could have had her killed because she refused to let him run an illegal gambling ring, and this is where it gets crazy. So there's reports that at the peak of the cafe, Lucky Luciano, because of his ties,
I'm going to give you you pay me protection money.
No, it wasn't even that. So check this out. So because of the reason why Lucky Luciano even has ties to Thelma is because of Pat DeSico.
Right.
Apparently, he was one of the mobsters.
Partners, yeah,
they were one of his mobsters.
Right.
So they came to Thelma with a proposition. Let me run a gambling ring on the 3rd floor of your cafe.
Okay.
And
above the apartments.
Yes, because there was a 3rd level.
Right.
He wanted to build a casino up there.
Right.
And she refused. So they're thinking maybe he got pissed, put a hit out on her.
Right.
That's one of the theories. So the most obvious and the most accepted theory is carbon monoxide poisoning.
Right.
They're saying maybe she was locked out, like we said earlier, locked out and slept in the car. So the coroner, the doctor, A.F. Wagner, said the autopsy showed carbon monoxide poisoning to the point of the saturation was 70% of her blood. That's how saturated.
That's how much it was.
That's how much she inhaled. Was 70% of her blood. There was also, this is what's crazy, this is where it gets wild. So check this out. There was a reported call from the grave. A friend of Thelma named Martha Ford told authorities that Sunday afternoon, she received a call from Thelma stating that she was on her way to her party and she would be bringing a surprise guest, and that she was still in her evening clothes. Did she mind? Ford said no and hung up. She said the call was around 4 p.m., which is 11 hours after the coroner stated the time of death was.
See, you had me like, hold on. You said from the grave, but I'm like, what?
Out of nowhere, this woman goes to the authorities.
That it was Thelma calling her.
She swears. She's like, I swear this was Thelma. She's like, I know I'm not hearing. She's like, I know for a fact this was Thelma that I was talking to. But this was 11 hours after her supposed death.
Right.
So this brings up a whole new line of, did the coroner get the time of death right? Or
so we're looking 11 hours, so they found her like at 6 in the morning?
That's what they're saying. They found her early morning. But now it's like, oh, is even the coroner in on this?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
What happened?
Is it a whole conspiracy?
Exactly.
Of Lucky Luciano, Roland,
yes,
the coroner, because everybody in the mob ran everything back then.
Yeah, exactly. In the 20s and 30s, dog, it was very mob heavy.
I don't want to say mob, maybe gangsters, whatever
they were. Yeah, But that's the thing, and then you hear reports of. There was also a report in the newspaper. While I was doing the research, I had read that one of the newspapers had reported that Roland West's wife Carmen, that she had threatened Thelma one day over the I guess something about the cafe, that she would kill her because of her husband.
So what all boils down is the cafe.
That's what it sounds like.
Everything's coming out of
the cafe. And dog, it's crazy. But here's another bone tossed at you, dog.
Okay.
So, of course, the hours, that was just a crazy coincidence.
Right.
The call after the grave.
I'm still thinking.
Right.
It can't be her.
It couldn't be. But I don't know. It is weird.
Right.
That woman swore it was Thelma. But so here's another crazy thing, when they started doing some investigation on her body, of course, the autopsy, all that. Another strange thing they found were peas and carrots were found in her stomach, and they weren't serving those at the party she was at the night before. So now that opens up. Did somebody pick her up after the party, and did they take her to eat? Possibly could have killed her and stuck her inside the garage.
Or it's her restaurant, it's her cafe. She could have gone to the kitchen and ate,
peas and carrots.
Well, I mean, maybe she had a pot pie. I don't know.
She was,
maybe she was intoxicated. She wanted to get something in her stomach.
And she was
intoxicated. Maybe she was went to the cafe, to the kitchen. I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing some stuff out.
She was a heavy drinker.
These are the 20s and 30s. It's so much more different. Autopsies. Was it really an autopsy?
Yeah. Probably,
or did they just cut him up and say, I'm not dissing them. I'm not dissing them.
No, facts. But it is weird. It is weird just because they weren't serving that at the party, and that's what was found in her stomach.
Right.
And the other thing was, they were freshly digesting. The peas were. So it's like...
So it was recent.
It was recent. She had just recently ate peas and carrots. And it's just... She was a heavy drinker too, dog, because it was reported that her drink of choice was 3 Fingers Rye. I don't know what that means.
Hey,
but
remember Prohibition in town.
3 Fingers Rye.
So
I think they said that's 3 fingers worth of rye.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like straight alcohol back in the day.
That's like drinking some moonshine, right?
Yeah,
I would assume. I'm not a heavy drinker, but yeah, man. So that was one weird thing they found.
Right.
So here comes the ringer that I'm finna throw at you about.
Okay, another one.
Maybe she was locked outside of her apartment and she couldn't get in and slept in the car. Check this out. The last weird thing was her bag that was found next to her dead body. Inside the bag was lipstick, a cigarette case, some handkerchiefs, and a coin purse. And inside that coin purse, was the key to her apartment.
So she wasn't locked out.
She wasn't locked out. She had her key. So why did she sleep in the car, dog? Right. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, I know you're gonna. We're going with some.
Yeah, we got 2 more theories.
Yeah, so I'll hold off my theories till to the end.
So she wasn't locked out of her apartment.
Right.
So I don't know, but second theory is suicide. They're thinking maybe it was suicide.
I thought that too.
So here's their reasoning. Apparently, on the way home from the cafe, the party she was having.
Well, I mean, that's crazy because it's right there.
Yes. So they're saying the cab driver, I guess there was a report of them saying that she had got a very depressing message on the way home from an anonymous person. And she was pretty hurt about it.
Like, me to you or
I don't know. Or? That's all I read.
Right.
That she had got a disheartening message or something like that on the way home.
Right.
I don't know because of course they have cell phones back then, nothing. So I don't know how.
That we know of, but
yeah, they probably could have, dog. You never know. But so apparently she was a little upset on the way. Then of course she's in this love triangle with this man, his wife. It's maybe there's a lot going. Then you got the mob coming at her asking about the but. There's also reports to dispute this, dog, because all the people that knew her, out of all the 160 witnesses they talked to about her death, she was never reported as a depressed person. Sad, nothing. And matter of fact, to take it an extra step, dog, she had Christmas presents already in her trunk of her car, wrapped. That she was planning on. Somebody who's planning suicide isn't going to go to the extent of wrapping presents if they were going to kill themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was their way of thinking.
Well, go ahead,
Yeah, you know what I mean? So that was one theory that maybe it could have been suicide. Maybe it was just a lot dealing with the pressures of Hollywood because there was some talk of that on her contracts. she was kind of getting treated like Judy Garland, another famous person from those
I heard of
times.
Judy Garland. I never heard of this one, but yeah.
They were doing her the same way. Some of her contracts, her contracts, if you gain this much weight or lose this much weight, you will be fired from this role.
Right.
You know, women were treated rough back then in the entertainment industry.
Right.
So maybe it was just a lot on her brain and she couldn't take it and she killed herself. That's the second theory. And of course, the third theory is it was a murder. The suspects are Roland West, of course.
Number one. Or the husband.
Because of his deathbed confession.
Right.
You know, that was a big giveaway.
But immediately he was, I'm sure he was questioned, but he wasn't.
There was just no physical evidence to put him at the scene of the crime.
Right.
And there just wasn't enough to really consider him a serious suspect. Of course, Jewel Carmen, the wife of Roland, like I said, there was a report saying that there was a argument overheard where she threatened, I will kill you, or something like that. But, of course, that was just hearsay.
That's hearsay, yeah.
And then there was no evidence to put her anywhere close to the crime. And finally, the last suspect, Pat DeSico.
Her husband, ex-husband.
Yeah, her ex-husband, because of his ties to the mob and Lucky Luciano and with the casino deal. And also, there was reports that she was getting letters in the mail. They were demanding, threatening her, man. They were demanding $10,000 and they threatened to wreck that Santa Monica cafe of yours and warned our San Francisco boys will lay you out. And the signature at the bottom was signed Ace of Hearts.
Okay. So who's the San Francisco boys? What mob was tied into San Francisco?
So check this out, man. 2 men were arrested in connection with the threats, and after that, the letter stopped. One of the men was Harry Shkaminski, was arrested, and the letter stopped after his arrest. Another source stated that Edward Chiefert confessed to writing some of the notes to the actress. The motive, investigators considered the extortion plot as a possible motive for Todd's death. Okay. So that was another thing that was going into classification, was like, she's getting these threats, and of course there was people arrested in connection to that. Right. But they were also thinking it could have been Lucky Luciano because signed the ace, the Ace of Hearts. Right. He's wanting to open up a gambling ring, and it's like I don't know, something. Not so much a casino because it was different back then, but it's more it's cards, more like, cards and stuff like that. So it's like, could he have something to do with it? I mean, he was a powerful person, and he could have people paid off. I mean, because he was a Italian mob. And think about it, the only reason why I'm like, I don't know, man, this sounds like a murder, dog, because they could have hit it with the carbon monoxide poisoning, but just because she was carbon monoxide poisoned, does not explain 2 broken ribs. Right. They're cracked. And a broken nose, And a broken nose. Right. Now, they're saying she probably passed out, slumped forward, and broke her nose on the steering wheel. I don't think she had enough force to break her nose. Right. It just don't make sense to me, dog. And 2 cracked ribs. Passed out, from what? From what? Yeah, you know what I mean? Clean shoes. Yeah, there's so much there, nephew, that is just, it just, I don't know, Unc, something's not adding up. Right. So, I don't know, Unc. To this day, there's been no answers, and maybe that's what makes this case stick around all these years later. It's a Hollywood noir in real life. A woman with brains and talent tangled up with men who saw her more as property than a partner. Of course. And an ending that still doesn't feel right. Thelma Todd was just 29 years old. Young. And even though she has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, her story too often gets reduced to just a mystery. She was more than a mystery, she was a force, and tonight we remember her not just for how she died, but for how she lived with grit, grace, and guts in the industry that didn't make it easy on women. Wow. She was that's amazing for her, dog. It is. For her being a strong-willed at that time. At that time. Yeah, song, because, and that's why, and to close out here with this story, to this day, like I said, I looked it up. There's nothing new on this, man. There's no more information. Well, it's sad, nephew, that she remembered for the mystery part. For the last 24 hours of her life instead of she was in over 120 films, bro, and she was up there with some big name guys. And she was there with Judy Garland, Hey, she was one of the biggest ones, in the 30s and 40s, so. And dog, that brings up a conversation that I want to be had, because, like I said, or like you just said, Judy Garland. Yeah. Bro, during that time, there was some crazy stuff going on in Hollywood, because outside of this, Like with Judy Garland, bro, that's another woman who lost their life to the industry.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
she lived. Of course, she overdosed.
Yeah.
She overdosed.
Well, most of the females have all overdosed. How many Hollywood legends or Hollywood females?
But why, dog? And it's because
what's the curse?
Well, what it is to me, I think it's just how this industry handled women. Now, look how
is it that
like
hard
her.
still? I'm sure it is.
I don't know. I don't know if it's that bad now. Of course, I'm not in the industry.
Yeah, but
I wish I could be. I want to be an actor, dog. But
it's okay.
That's okay. No, quite a low. She'll lie me in the morning.
I'll be at work doing the same thing,
dog. But it's crazy though, because you got to think like this woman, man. She lost her life way too early, and the same thing with Judy Garland, man. She's a legend in the old film industry.
Yeah,
but from a young age, when she played Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, one of her big breaks, dude, in her contract, it was stated that you cannot go above this weight or lose this many pounds, or you will be fired.
And that's crazy, right? For a young female like her, I mean, she was a kid.
Bro, she was a kid. Your body is growing.
It's like, she's going to add weight as she grows up.
Exactly. I even read to the extent of they wanted her to be more childlike because she was starting to grow breasts and stuff, that they strapped this girdle onto her.
That's
super
crazy,
tight
dog.
to hold her breasts down because they didn't want her looking too old.
That's
for the
crazy,
role.
man. Yeah.
The makeup. Then they made her take pills, diet pills. They were forcing her to take diet pills.
That's crazy to have pills in the 30s and 40s, dog. You know, I mean, we have them now, but
but what were they back then?
We got Ozempic now, so it don't matter.
Yeah, we got that Ozempic, dog. But it's like at that time, dog. I mean, how they were doing.
Well, I mean,
the dark secrets of Hollywood,
dude.
What is there to
that should
uncover?
be something we should dig into because I mean, besides Diddy,
you know, and he's exposing a lot with Diddy, dog.
Yeah, I mean, how many have been exposed? How many are going to get exposed?
Right.
But 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s. What was going on
that we don't know
behind the
about.
scenes that corporate America hid?
Exactly, And it's crazy, like you said. I want to stay on track with this, but I do want to bring something up that if nobody's heard yet, dog. Did you see what happened to R. Kelly?
No, what happened?
Dog. Okay, so a couple days back on social media, I had seen that R. Kelly was telling the media that the security guards are trying to drug me. They're trying to make me overdose. So, yeah, in prison.
Yeah.
He said the guards are sabotaging me, trying to make me overdose, this and that.
So what are they giving him?
No, I don't know. But nobody, of course, is like paying attention. Right. They're like, whatever, dog.
Yeah,
yesterday, he got rushed to the hospital for overdose.
In prison?
In prison.
Overdose on what?
On what? I don't know.
Wow, dude.
But he was telling everybody, bro, they're trying to hurt me, and then he gets hurt.
Well, I mean, nobody wants to listen to.
But how convenient, dog. What is going on? Because like with the Diddy thing, and with the R. Kelly,
that one, that's just escalator ride or something.
Yeah, because it's so much wild stuff going on.
It comes up quick and then it dies out for a little bit. Cassie. She come up with her pregnant self and threw it all out there, and now I ain't heard nothing else.
Dog, the stuff is wild, dog.
Yeah.
If y'all been watching the trial, dog,
it
is weird.
It's crazy,
the stuff
dude.
that Diddy was
it's better than my dog stepped on a bee.
Oh,
what was their names? The two actors, man.
The Johnny Depp dude.
Yeah, Johnny Depp and whatever his wife.
God damn it, what was her name?
Yeah, dude.
She took a dump on his pillow.
Man, that's crazy.
No, she was crazy, dog. John, I felt bad for that dog, man.
She remind me of, what was that show? A Gone Girl, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. But yeah, dog, but seriously.
But it all boils down to what's going on in Hollywood.
Yeah, what really? And so that tells me this has been going on for a long time, bro.
Since they started the theater, because like you said, females didn't have rights,
Yeah, they didn't have rights back then.
They didn't have a lot of rights. And to make it, I'm sure you had to do a lot of
things you didn't want to. Yeah, things you didn't want to. And think about it, just like with Judy Garland, man, a lot of her stuff, I mean, even to the point, stuff that she probably didn't want to do. Did you ever see that racist thing that she did? There was a movie she did where she blackface with white lips and ponytail hair.
That was the thing then, you know.
Of course, but
people laughed at it back then.
Dog, you know, it's crazy. But she didn't want to do it. She have a choice. You're on contract.
Yeah.
With these, you're on contract. You do what we say.
But even the black folks didn't mind it. It was comedy.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
hell no.
Remember, this is comedy. This is something that, you know, Benny Hill. I don't know if you ever heard of Benny Hill. Mm-hmm. His comedy was pretty raunchy.
Oh, yeah.
But it was allowed because it was comedy.
Yeah.
But it wasn't comedy as is today. You know,
well, I don't know. I don't think that was ever comedy. That was blatant racist.
It is racist.
It was blatant racism.
How many... I have a book at home from Hell County with blackface by people we know here in Plainview.
Oh, damn.
I'm not going to say his name out there. I'm
damn.
Not, but he's gone past, but it was city known
that's
crazy. Many years, and it's blackface.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I have a book at home.
See, dog.
But anyway,
but yeah, all that to say, is like with Judy Garland, like everything that was going on at the time, like even the filming of The Wizard of Oz, there's secrets about The Wizard of Oz.
Well, I mean, you hear a lot, you know, the suicide of the
the little they say there was a munchkin. Yeah, but there was one that was true though, dog. She was being groped and molested by these munchkins, men. Like they were touching her, grabbing her.
I mean, I know, but I mean that's just insane because.
And they were allowing it because you don't have a choice. You don't have rights, dog. Like just shut up and act. Like that's how they were back then, dog.
Right? So that's why they would have to really want to do this and that's why they say. That's why they were saying Thelma Todd with the suicide deal. You see what women had to go through back then. Women had to go through for going
Hollywood.
back to her nephew. There's so much going on, you know. Okay, 1934. How many cars were out there? Not a lot.
Yeah, not a lot of them. I'm sure only the rich people could own them.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think. The Model T.
That was in the 20s.
Or 20s. Model A. I don't know what it was.
26.
Yeah, but.
Like that.
And then for her garage, you said was closed tightly. Okay, did they add stuff to close it? You know.
They didn't have garage door openers back in the day.
They didn't have stuff like, you know, the way it is now. I'm trying to think, you know, this was not a suicide.
I don't think so either, dog.
You know,
I think somebody murdered her.
To suicide by carbon monoxide, you'd have to have like a hose coming into the car, to get the carbon monoxide, that deep. To have that much in your system.
70% of her blood.
So those windows had to have been down.
Yeah, they were.
I mean,
it just doesn't make sense, dog. The theories,
broken nose, the
cracked ribs.
I
heard somebody say that she fell forward, hit her nose, and then the broken ribs could be from how hard she was coughing.
Look,
because I have heard that you can crack ribs from sneezing too hard or coughing, but I just don't see that happening, dog.
Especially intoxicated.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand. I could see her breaking or cracking her ribs, falling, being intoxicated.
Right.
But did somebody clean her up afterwards? The guy, what's getting me, nephew, is the guy that called Roland and said, hey, she's on her way. Who was he? And was he the last one to see her alive?
Well, apparently he was at the party. There was another guy, big time director guy.
But you didn't mention his name.
Yeah, I didn't. To be honest, I didn't write it down.
That's fine, but
yeah,
he should be the one to question the most, more than Roland,
right?
Or more than Luciano, or.
And of course, Luciano never got questioned.
Well, of course not. I mean,
no question about this murder, but
and I understand he got upset because he wanted, That's how they made their money back in the day.
Yeah.
I was really surprised when you said that they weren't using her as like $10,000 in the 20s and 30s is a lot more money than it is now.
Oh yeah.
Matter of fact, protection money. That's what they were doing back then. Protection money. You pay me this much every week or every month.
We won't kill you.
And, yeah. Well, who's gonna kill me? Well, not us. Not us. Pay me.
Yeah. If you keep paying us, nobody's gonna kill you, bro.
Right,
Find out, miss a payment and find out.
It's just so much.
Could you not to cut you off, but could you imagine if credit card companies were like that?
Man,
you know how many people would be paying their credit card? Man, they be making that payment. Like, look, man, you missed last month's payment now.
Yeah.
If you miss another one, you might not be here.
Yeah, we're gonna take a big toll or something.
Yeah,
you know?
something gonna get took.
Yeah. Hey, this is pretty crazy, nephew. Brandy,
yeah,
my
man.
daughter got me a 2 packets of evidence packets where I have to solve a murder mystery.
Oh,
dog.
really?
So this reminds me of that, man. You know, I haven't opened them yet because I'm waiting for the right time. I don't know if I want to do a TikTok. I want to do it live on, not live, but do it on here with us.
That'll be cool.
But because the 20s and 30s were way different, even with the medical profession.
Or like
how good an autopsy,
even investigations.
Yeah. I mean, there was no fingerprints at that time. There was no DNA at that time.
How was their investigation? Was it just like, I looked, I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything, so let's pack it up.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, what pictures were they taking? None.
None, probably.
And if they did, they were black and white. Can't see nothing.
Can't see nothing.
Real
grainy. Yeah, so I mean.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean.
That's why when people say, why is there so many murders and unexplained this from the 30s and 40s? Yeah. Well, because times were different.
Yeah.
And investigation was harder back then. People didn't know what they were doing.
If you killed one person and you did it right, and that's the only person
you'll get away with it.
You'll get away with it.
Yep.
If you become a serial killer, eventually you're going to make a mistake. Yeah,
exactly.
But you're right, man. In the 20s and 30s, 40s, even 50s, when, it's a little bit better or different.
Right,
but,
right.
That's why it's so hard for this. I mean, I just by you telling me the story, I feel for her, dog, because I can just imagine what she went through.
Right.
As an actress, and then as a female.
Right. During them times.
Yeah, because she had to be
such a promising career, dog. Yeah. I mean, she was only 29.
Right.
So it's like
most actresses that either commit suicide or get murdered are very young.
Right.
It's
a hard industry, dog.
Yeah.
And to think that to this day there's still secrets of the industry that we may never know, dog.
I mean,
things they put in movies. They could probably be telling us stuff through, and which you see it all the time. Movies are used. I mean, look at the Walt Disney movies that we talked about the time. Subliminal messaging. They put things in movies in plain sight because we think, it's just a movie, like the Men in Black.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna do a case on that one day.
See,
the real Men in Black.
One thing too, because you don't know what's out there. We don't know what's out there. We don't know what the government is hiding.
And it's like, how do they put it in movies? How do they know? Somebody has to know something.
I always said, everything we see now has already been done,
or that people have seen. They're like, what would make them think about doing a movie like this? Well, obviously they saw it from somewhere.
Right.
They must be something out there like that.
Independence Day, War of the Worlds we talked about,
Yep. That's true. Speaking of Independence Day, War of the Worlds, to close this out, the situation that's going on with Iran and the U.S.
Dude, it's insane that
talk. Yeah.
I don't know the president or the
leader
or whatever they call him.
The leader of whatever.
He's got some balls.
He think he do.
That's what I'm saying. Because Iran is going to get annihilated.
And that's the thing, huh? The thing is the reason why I was even bringing this up was because, like you said, with the Independence Day at War of the Worlds, it's like, there's all this talk of, especially for Christians, they say, in the Bible and Revelations, they say,
we're right there.
The end of days, there's talks of war. There's like 2 or 3 volcanoes that have erupted within this last week or two.
Underground earthquakes, ocean earthquakes.
There's so much stuff going on. Talks of war, talks of us. Like you said, Trump he ain't doing no plan, dog.
Right.
You know how Trump is. Like you said, I don't get into politics too heavy. But all I can do is just hope for the best for whatever president we got.
Right.
But the thing is there's so many talks of the world ending that I wanted to bring a topic up to you about that. That's why I'm bringing this up, because I want to get your opinion on something. There's a theory, dog, going around that this isn't the first civilization that has lived. Me and my dad have brought this up. Even my dad talked about this. He don't believe he believes that the world has been destroyed and restarted many times before.
Besides the flood.
Well, even see, because the flood is an example, right?
Right.
So biblically, it is true. The world has been reset before.
Right.
But my dad was saying he believes that wasn't just a one-time thing.
Right.
He believes this has happened over and over again. There's even a theory called the Younger Dryas period, where they say a comet hit the Earth, completely obliterated the planet, and we restarted. But it's like, if that would be true, dog, how many times have this world restarted? And the reason why I say that is because look at things like we always go back to the pyramids.
Right.
Or Atlantis.
Right.
Technology that they could have had. They were so advanced back then. We think they were simple-minded using stone tools. Right?
Go ahead, yeah.
No, but I'm saying like...
Yeah, you're right.
And you got to think like these people were so advanced, the pyramids.
Right.
They were saying they're not just tombs there. Right. Could have been power plants.
Right. See, like you said, we thought, they were just
chiseling things,
the walls.
Hieroglyphics.
That's beginnings. But they were so advanced, way more. There's
way
no
more than
way.
we think.
So
what reset it?
They themselves.
Are we at the end of that period?
Are we the same thing as them? That we're killing ourselves off because of our own technology.
Exactly.
That are one push of the button.
Maybe humans just aren't learning. We're not learning, and until we learn,
not learning, or are we not capable of learning?
Maybe the world is supposed to be united as one. Well, but we can't.
As Christians, that's what we believe.
Right. But you get what I'm saying?
I do get it.
And we're going to keep going through this over and over again.
Because the cycle, what do we... We don't know enough from the pyramids to learn from it.
Time.
To learn from it.
But I feel like everybody...
we can speculate
of course.
that they were power grids.
Right.
But were they? We don't know.
We don't know.
So I'm saying, we haven't learned it, like you said. We're not learning from each other.
We're not learning the lesson.
Because we haven't learned enough from it.
That's what I'm saying, though, dog.
Look at the Mayans. I mean, the Mayans.
But even them,
the Aztecs,
Mayans disappeared.
Where they at?
Where'd they go?
There's no bones?
No bones,
They
dog.
left. They left Earth. How?
And see, that's what I'm curious about, dog.
The Mayan calendar. 13-month calendar?
Could human civilization be resetting itself over and over again?
Is it that time again?
That's what I'm wondering.
Because once the next 100 years or the next 1,000 years?
Once nuclear missiles get involved, dog, you're talking about the total destruction of the world. Of course.
But I don't believe that's happening right now.
I mean, I'm not saying it's happening now, but I'm just saying.
So, are we
because there's so many talks of war.
100 years, or are we in the last 1,000?
Or are we in the last 10? Who do we know? How do we know?
How long? People say that the Earth's been around 33 million years or whatever.
60,
or
actually
60, whatever it is.
60
How do they know?
Million years.
Who came up with that calculation?
Well, scientists do. They do carbon
core
dating.
Samples and stuff like that.
They do carbon dating.
That does. I mean.
But it's not even 100% accurate.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody truly knows how long this world has been existing.
This galaxy. Because we're a world in a galaxy.
Because you even think, dog, they have the James Webb telescope.
Yeah.
Where they have seen galaxies in the distance.
Yeah.
Where it's looking like the beginning of the Big Bang or whatever.
Right.
And they're saying that it's predating when the Big Bang happened. And so now they're confused because they're like, wait, the Big Bang happened this many billion years ago, but this galaxy was existing before. So now nobody knows, bro.
I'll never... I don't believe in the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
How these two atoms come together? Where'd they come from?
What did Cat Williams say? He said, if you believe in two things came together and made something better, he said, go outside and hit on your car and see if it become a better car. Yeah. He was like, still a Corolla, still a Corolla.
Right. I saw him today, too, man. I heard him today. He said something about what's going on. What was he saying? Man, I saw him and I don't remember what he said. But yeah, that dude.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say he's a genius.
Well, he is. He is a genius.
But he's so smart, though.
He's a genius.
He comes up. Either he's got good ass writers, or he got a good brain.
He's a genius, dog. If you look into his story, he's a genius. Literally, like graduated college, 9 years old type of genius. Like
Wow.
he's super smart. But no, but yeah, all that to say, Unc, is like we're all this talks of war and all this and that.
I know we went off subject, but still.
Yeah, we kind of went off subject from the murders, but I just before we closed out, I wanted to talk about could we be in a reset period? Maybe
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe it's our generation's time to reset the civilization.
Because,
who knows? How many times has this happened before?
Yeah, how many times has technology
got advanced?
Got too advanced for our minds.
Exactly.
And we don't know how to control it. See, I keep saying these nuclear weapons should have never been made.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Because that's a mass destruction. I understand
if we
war.
all launched
but
nukes,
really, are we that? Do we really want to kill off all the Iranians? Do we really want to commit genocide with the people?
But it's like, but they do. But it seems that way. But it's like, but that's the thing, Hunk, and that's the biggest thing about all this, is that I don't think humans understand that. I always put my dad in. I told my dad, and I put it in this perspective. And I guess before we close out, I do want to say that nobody owns this earth.
Nobody does.
We literally
we exist on this earth.
We are so insignificant and little compared to this world, bro.
Yeah.
Like literally, if Yellowstone's volcano erupted tonight, the whole world would probably die off.
Right.
Like that's how, and there's nothing we can do about it.
We are.
That's how insignificant we are as people. Now, from the Christian side, you can make the case of God, we're everything in God's eyes. But but that's besides the point.
Right.
What I'm saying is us as humankind need to realize that we are so insignificant to this Mother Earth deal.
Yeah.
That the Earth, if it just got tired of us and wanted to blow up, it could.
It would.
And nobody would survive.
And Mother Earth want to say, she could project the
dog,
an asteroid.
If Yellowstone blew up tonight, dog.
So many more things.
But that's the biggest massive super volcano we have.
Right,
bro. If it explodes, we'd go into a nuclear type winter forever. We'd go back into an ice age.
Right,
dog, and we wouldn't survive.
We wouldn't survive,
and all this fighting would be for nothing.
Exactly,
because
that's what I was gonna say. I don't think I hate somebody bad enough that I want them dead.
Yeah.
Now, if there was to essay my family, my daughter,
of course,
my mom,
you could harbor the anger, to retaliate.
For this world, like you said, to be in chaos against each other is utter ridiculous.
It's crazy,
because
dog.
we exist on this planet only, and we're insignificant to what the planet can do
to us. Literally, tornado could just wipe through a city,
and we're done.
And you're done for, dog. Like literally, and then what? Or like you said, asteroid or comet hit.
What do they say? They may wait for 2 or 3 days,
but then life goes on.
Life goes on. Within a month, you'll be forgotten.
Yeah. That's just like us.
Memories. Yeah.
Like you said, dog, an asteroid could just wipe out this. Bro, there's a asteroid that's going to give a close Apophis. Yeah. It's going to be very close within the next couple of years. Yeah. 2026, 2027, something like that. If for some reason it changes its trajectory just a teensy 19 little bit, it'll hit the Earth, dog, and it'll destroy the world, bro. And that's why I'm getting at.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
What the hell was that?
I don't know how to eat.
It just rolled down. But yeah, man, all that to say is, just to say, I mean, all this talks of war and stuff. But yeah, today's case was crazy, though, man. We're at a good closing point, man. I thought today was a good story, man. Is there anything you want to say before we head out here, though?
Nah, I just want to say thank you to everybody because we have been getting more comments and more likes and I may not always comment back. I may just heart it, give it a heart or something because of the way I work.
You're more busy than I am. Yeah, during the week at least.
Yeah.
But we do still appreciate it, man. Like whatever y'all leave, we'll promise to try to get right back to y'all if we can. If y'all have any suggestions for us, hit us in the DM or hit us in our email, late night conversations 24@gmail.com. Right. If y'all have any suggestions, if y'all have a story y'all want told, just hit us up, man. We love to hear feedback from y'all. But other than that, man, I'm good, man. Thank y'all for sticking with us this whole time if y'all are still with us, man. Right. And thank y'all for watching another exciting episode of Late Night Conversations with Unc and Nephew. And until next week,
peace.